Blackjack for the serious player. Continued. Single deck basic strategy. Basic strategy means basic winning strategy. All plays covered in this chapter are correct plays and must be made for a player to have a winning chance. A player can't afford to play hunches or feelings when playing blackjack. If he or she expects to come out ahead, there are correct plays that must be followed exactly. For now, we're covering basic strategy without the effect of counting cards, which will change some of the moves shown. Forget about card counting at this point and concentrate on correct play as shown in basic strategy. I meet a lot of players, some of whom seek me out and want to tell me their blackjack stories, most of which are tedious and boring. A great many of these stories have to do with going against correct strategy on some wild hunch and how it paid off. They don't tell me about the hunches that destroyed their bankrolls. Those are conveniently forgotten. And a number of players tell me that they're losers despite knowing the game. All I have to do is ask a couple of simple questions to see how little they really know about blackjack. The first question I always ask is this: you're at a blackjack table and the dealer shows a 7 as his up card. You're holding an ace and a 6. What do you do? It's amazing how many players who gamble with really serious money don't know the answer to this question. They stare at me and think about the situation. They have 17 and the dealer has 17. It's a push. Why risk hitting the hand? I can see their mental processes working. Some say they stand pat, others thinking it's a trick question, needing an expert reply, say they'll double down. Both answers are wrong, of course. When you hold a soft 17, a6 against the dealer's 7, the correct play is to hit. Having asked that question and gotten a strange answer, I now ask, suppose you have the same a6 and the dealer shows a 3. What do you do? There's more thinking going on. The answers are usually divided between standing and hitting, and yet the correct move is to double down here. The point of this digression is this: you should know basic strategy cold before playing blackjack for money. Every move should be memorized so that not only will you give a correct answer immediately, but more importantly, when faced with the situation in actual play, you'll make the right move. In this chapter, we're not only going to give you the correct strategy, but tell you the reason for the strategy. Furthermore, we're going to divide the strategies between soft totals and hard totals and give the correct play for each group in all situations. We're also going to divide the strategies for maximum efficiency into those for hitting versus standing, splitting pairs, and doubling down. And then we're going to combine them all into the master strategy. The following symbols will be used throughout the strategy tables. H is for hit, S is for stand, DBL is for double down, and SP is for split. In all charts, the dealer's up card is indicated by the horizontal numbers running left to right on the top row, and the player's hand is indicated by the vertical numbers up and down in the left column. The letters in the matrix indicate the correct strategy play. All players shown in the charts are correct plays and must be made for you to have a winning chance. So there's a chart there. The suggestion is to study the chart and practice till you know every play by heart. This is the core of basic strategy, and until you master hitting versus standing strategy, you shouldn't play for real money in a casino. When I went to a casino, I I did avoid the blackjack table. A friend of mine was going straight for it, but I decided, but you know what? I might check it out the next time if I go back. I'm gonna see. I don't know. It says single deck hitting versus standing. It has all these hits up here and then standing down here. It has standing for 721, 11 to less from 12 to 16. Okay, I see 13 to 16 is standing, and then you got 12. Oh, look, it's just all. Okay, I don't even remember from this page. We're wrong right here. The charts. In the charts, the dealer's up card is indicated by the horizontal numbers. And then the player's hand is indicated by the vertical numbers. Okay, so going across, it looks like 2. And then, okay, so it's just like whatever you have, right? So 11 or less hit, 12 hit, but then it goes down to standing. So it says hard 12 versus dealer 2-3. Players holding a hard 12 against the dealer's 2 or 3 seem to be lost if they don't know or understand basic strategy. Sometimes they stand and sometimes they hit. They often tell me I always bust when I hit a hard 12. That's far from true. Only a 10 will bust then, and any other card will not. Since it's the most difficult stiff hand for a player to bust with, it should be hit against the dealer's 2 or 3. We're assuming that the dealer holds a 10 as a whole card, and of his stiff hands, these are the most difficult for him to bust. By stiff hands, we mean any hand from hard 12 to hard 16 that, if hit, is in danger of busting. Hard 12 versus dealer 4, 6, 7A. If a dealer has a 4 through 6, then the player stands on his hard 12, allowing the dealer first crack at busting. If the dealer shows a 7 ace, the hard 12 will be hit until the player gets at least a 17. Then he'll stand. Thus, if the dealer shows a 9 and the player gets a 4 on his 10-2, he'll hit again according to the chart. Now that he has a hard 16, he hits against the dealer's 10. Hard 13 through 16, when we hold a stiff total of 13 through 16, we're most at risk of busting. Therefore, we stand against any dealer's stiff card 2 to 6, but hit against a 7 ace. Hard 17 or higher. With the hard 17 or higher, we never hit. We are in danger of busting too often, and it's a losing play. Taking 21. Single deck splitting pairs. Many players believe that if they're dealt a pair, it should be a split. You'll see this quite often at blackjack tables, with players splitting everything that pairs with no regard to the favorability of the move. We must be more discerning in our pair splitting. Uplifting. Only certain pairs should be split against certain up cards, and some pairs should never be split. Conversely, there are pairs that should always be split. Splitting 2-2. Now let's examine the rationale for pair splitting. Our 2-2 gives us a total of 4, which is worse than an individual card totaling 2. So against the 3-7, we split. If we hit an individual 2 and get a 6 through 9, we've significantly improved the hand. Against the dealer's 2, we don't split because the 2 gives him many ways to make his hand. So we hit the hand as we do against a dealer's 8 ace and hope for the best. If we hit the 2-2, which is a hard 4, we follow the rules of the previous table on hitting and standing and play accordingly depending on what the dealer's up card is. For example, if the dealer's up card was an 8, we keep hitting until we have at least a hard 17, then stand. Splitting 3-3. The 3-3 gives us a possible foundation of 6, which together with a 10 forms our worst hand of 16. So we're anxious to break up the 3s against the 4-7 dealer's up card. We don't split against a dealer's 2 or 3 because our individual 3 here can quickly be busted with the addition of 2 10s. We prefer to play out our hand, our bad 6 for 1 loss rather than splitting for 2 losses. The same reasoning holds true when we face a dealer's 8 ace. Splitting 4-4. The 4-4 gives an 8 total, which is much stronger than individual 4s, so we don't split it no matter what the dealer's up card. If we get a 10 to the 4-4, we have an 18, a reasonable but not a very strong hand. Still, it's better than splitting the 4s, getting a 10, then an 8, and busting the first hand. Then running into the same problem with the second split 4, resulting in a double loss. Splitting 5-5. The 5-5 presents a different situation. It forms a 10, a very strong total, whereas splitting the 5s give us 2 weak foundation cards susceptible to busting. With the 5-5, as we shall see in the table on doubling down, we will double down most of the time with this holding. Splitting 6-6. 6-6 should be split against the dealer's 2-6, even though we have 2 weak foundation cards in individual 6s by splitting. We're only splitting against a dealer's stiff card, a 2-6. We make this play more to limit losses than to increase our winnings. Against the dealer's 7 ace, we hit our 6-6, which is a hard 12, and hope we don't get a 10 to bust our hand. Splitting 7-7. 7-7 is split against a 2-7 with the expectation that a 7 base will form a 17 if we hit a 10 to the 7, and sometimes will be even a higher total. We only take the chance of splitting against a 2-7 and not an 8 or 9, for example, since 2 17s might give us a double loss against a dealer's 18 or 19. 7-7 versus dealer 10. Since the on the 7 against the 10, we stand with 2 7s against a 10. Note the asterisk on the 7 against the 10. We stand with 2 7s against a 10. The reasoning is this: we are playing a single deck game and already have 2 7s. Only another 7 will beat a dealer's potential 20, and the chances of this happening have been diminished considerably. So we stand. 20, lucky number for me today. I'm seeing it over and over. Splitting 8-8. 8s are always split. Together they form a 16, a horizontal total, one that is in most danger of being busted. But separately, we have individual busts of 8, which isn't bad. A 10 to the 8 gives us 18 and a fighting chance to push or win. Again, this move is made to diminish overall losses rather than as an aggressive winning move. The more we cut down on losses, the more it'll add up and wins in the long run. Splitting 9-9. The 2 9s are best split against all cards from the 2 through the 9, with the exception of the 7. Why don't we split against the 7? Simple. 2 9s give us 18. The dealer 7 gives him a potential 17. We have a winner and we don't tamper with it. Splitting the 9s gives us a good shot at a double win, especially against the dealer's stiff cards of 3 through 6. And it is just slightly favorable against the dealer's 2. Against the dealer's 8, we're trying for a double win instead of a push if we hit 10s on each 9. Against the 9, we're trying to avoid one loss, our 18, to the dealer's 19 by hoping for a 10 on each 9 we split. A lot to take in, huh? I hope you enjoyed the reading.